Hello and welcome to Dual Universe. My name is Spanj, and in this video I'm going to try and give you sort of first impressions, kind of summary of my first kind of experience within Dual Universe. Now, right off the bat, you're going to notice that the frames, the frames are bad. I don't know whether it's a certain graphic setting. Everything was pretty much set to low when I checked. But yes, when you first load into the game, at least for me, anyway, my experience is one of about 4 or 5 frames per second, as you can see. Now, it did progressively get a bit better as I sort of progressed and everything kind of loaded in, I guess. This is the first time I've ever loaded the game. And so, yeah, the frame's not great, but we'll try and kind of work past that. This is sort of just come out in beta. The servers have been flooded with players. And so I guess we can kind of sort of try and work past it and forgive them for that. Let's see what the game has to offer. Now, when you first load into Dual Universe, as we're seeing here, we're greeted by an AI that's going to take us through a tutorial. And, you know, it's going to do the sort of basic stuff of this is how you move around, this is how you look around, try and go to this waypoint here, look, a sofa, well done. And then we're going to move on to some more advanced things. I will say that even though some of the sort of more basic stuff of the tutorial, I'm like, yeah, why are we doing this? Some of the more later steps in the tutorial are definitely worth it. Things like figuring out how to use your inventory and how to use the map are kind of what you would expect. But then the game starts revealing some of its depth, and oh boy, each one of these hexagon tiles that you're seeing is a piece of land that you can claim as a player. The game explains sort of red is already claimed and grey areas that are claimable. There's also purple, which are unclaimable as well. But I'll come to the scale of each one of these hexagons a bit later on, but this kind of gives you an idea of how big each planet is. And there's only sort of a few planets in the game at the moment, but Alioth, the sort of main planet that you start on here, is absolutely enormous. Insanely enormous, considering the number of players that have already started in this game, how many tiles are actually claimed, and how much of the planet is still left. Because I was late getting into the game, because I had loads of problems trying to log in, loads of other people did. I was slightly worried that I was going to get in and there wasn't going to be anything left. All the players would have claimed half the world or most of the world already. There's a lot of there's a lot of planet. There's a real lot of planet. So that's the first sense of scale and depth that I got with the game. The tutorial then moves you on to more aspects of the game, and everything starts trying to unfolding in my mind how complex and how deep this game is. And it is completely and totally overwhelming. I have no idea what to do. The tutorial does do a good job, I think, of giving you a sort of short introduction to each element. You know, it sort of takes you through mining industry, it takes you through building, trading, organizations, and all the sort of components, crafting and things like that. But it doesn't go into very much depth at all. It says, oh, by the way, you know, here you can do mining and there's some tools. Oh, here's a trade station, you trade. Here's some industry examples and things like that. But it doesn't actually tell you how to do really any of it, which is where the tutorial then goes into something called institutes. Now, I haven't gone into any of the institutes yet, but basically each institute is where you get the more advanced tutorial about all of the different parts of the game. So if you want to learn more about mining and get into the complexity of that, of industry, then the complexity of that, then you go to the relevant institute here. So rather than them cramming the main tutorial and overwhelming you with information and depth about each of these, it just gives you a rough overview and then says, if you want to find out more, this is where you go. I think that's really, really good, and actually helped me from not having complete a mind melt. From here, the tutorial gives you a little hover speeder that you can deploy and sends you off to something called the Sanctuary Moon. Now, the Sanctuary Moon is a PvE zone, so there's no player versus player there at all, which means that anything you place build on the Sanctuary Moon is safe. But as you can see, this reminds me of the PvE zones in Empyreon, where everyone has just spawned in something and then buggered off. The place is completely littered with abandoned hover vessels, the free hover vessels that the game gives you. They're just everywhere. It's just chaos. You can see just the number of people that have been through here already, and it's just littered. It's just littered, hundreds of hover vessels everywhere, and this is no doubt contributing to the lack of frame rate that we're getting. So I'm not sure if there's some kind of mechanic that clears these up. I'm guessing not, because this whole point of Sanctuary Moon is that your stuff is safe here. It doesn't get removed. But there you go. That's what happens when you just give players free stuff, and then, you know, because I'm pretty sure most of them have come up here, done the tutorial, and then buggered back off again, you know, leaving their hover vessel here, no care whatsoever. Well, okay, I mean, we're about to do the same thing, to be honest. So the whole point of the Sanctuary Moon is that you get to claim a tile. It gives you a free claim device, and then you go off, you find somewhere, and you go and claim the tile. This is kind of where I sort of found how big the planets are, really. I selected a point on the map, and now I'm going to drive to that point on the map. And it's a long way away. I didn't think it was that far away. It was a really long way away. It took me sort of 10 minutes to get there. It was crazy. But first of all, I need to spawn in that nice little blueprint, that nice little holograph that the game has given me for free, which is very, very easy to do. But as you'll see, it doesn't quite work properly. Half of the blocks seem to be missing. Still, the thing functions okay. So let's just ignore that for now and just drive off to my new tile that I'm going to claim. And so I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a little green sort of waypoint that says something like 30 or so kilometers or something like that. So we're traveling around about 200 kilometers per hour. And I think we get the speed up to about 400 kilometers per hour according to the UI, although graphically we're definitely not moving at 400 kilometers an hour, but we'll let them off. And it does take a long time, which just sort of goes to show the size. Once again, I will reiterate, the size is enormous of these planets. So I think, you know, a hover vessel is a great first step. I can't wait to get a ship and actually start flying around these things. I think it's going to speed things up a lot. But yeah, you can see the graphics are struggling. We got a lot of texture popping. We've got a lot of asset popping. I think, you know, we've got the rocks on the ground that are appearing 10 meters in front of us, it appears. I mean, you know, not taking into account the speed that we're traveling, I guess. But, you know, at this speed, again, everything texture-wise, all the assets are very, very basic and simple. The ship itself, I think, looks pretty good, apart from the fact that it's missing most of its blocks. It would seem they are there. I think they're just invisible for whatever reason. The UI itself actually looks pretty cool. I like the look, the feel of it. The world, I think, needs a lot of love and attention, and I think that's coming in later builds. But right now it does look like you're in a sci-fi kind of really polished ship, polished UI, polished player model on a cartoon world. Yeah, it's a bit odd. So we start coming across now other player structures and things like that out in the wilderness, and you can kind of see here the size of the sort of hexagons. You can just about make out one of the borders there. I hit a key and it kind of highlights the edges of one of the hexagons. But let's get to where I'm going to claim some land, and we can see for real. To claim a tile, you need this kind of, it's looking like a land claim device thing. You place it down, give it a name, and hey presto, it's yours. And then you can see your tile on the map. Now you can also see the hover vessel on that sort of map there. And then we come out on the map, and there you can see how far away that hover vessel is while I'm on the ground. That hopefully gives you a sense of the size of just one of these hexagon tiles. What I start doing now is using the sort of resource gathering tool to pick up some of the rocks. Tutorial gets you to pick up about 200 liters of rocks off the ground, and then it tells you to go and sell it at the market. But I want to use these rocks to build. I want to use these rocks to build stuff. And this is kind of where, this is as far as I've got so far. This has taken me maybe about an hour or so, and it might take you quicker depending on how much of the tutorial kind of skip through. I sat there and let the computer talk to me and the AI talk to me in full. I didn't skip really much at all, and it takes just over an hour in order to get to the Sanctuary Moon and get to this point. So the next point is go to the market and sell your rocks. I haven't got that far yet. Before we do that, though, there's one other part of the game that I haven't actually covered yet. And there's a lot I haven't covered yet, but I'm trying to compress. I'm trying to compress a compressed tutorial into a compressed video. Anyway, the talents, the perks, I can't remember what to call it. I think they call it talents. The talent tree and the talent system in this game is insane. Okay, you can see it here. I mean, this is... I don't understand it, and then give me a year and I might understand it a bit better. But there is an insane amount of depth into this talent thing. It reminds me a lot of Eve and the kind of complexity of skills and stuff like that Eve has. I don't think it's quite as big as Eve's, because obviously this game is brand new. So, you know, it's sort of focused around the various things that you can do in the game, like your mining, like your industry, like crafting, building, whatever, organizations and so on and so forth. And you've got talents within each of those, and you've got to learn those talents, and then you get sort of efficiency bonuses, or you unlock more stuff that you can craft or refine and so on and so forth. So I'm looking at this tech tree and I'm completely and utterly overwhelmed and have no idea what to do. I am hoping that the Institute tutorials back on the main planet can shed some light on which paths to go down, because I know what I want to do in this game to start off with. At least I want to start building. Okay, I want to start crafting and I want to start building some stuff. I want to build myself a little home, I want to build myself a little ship, and I want to fly around and kind of explore things. From then, probably go into mining and industry in order to be able to then produce more stuff and so on and so forth. But at the moment, how that actually translates into these talents and then how I unlock things, I don't know. I just don't know. And so that brings us to now. We are all caught up. I am here on the Sanctuary Moon. I've actually turned off volumetric clouds. So in the graphics setting here, we've got volumetric clouds. I've turned them off. There are no clouds in the sky whatsoever at the moment. But as you can probably tell, the frame rates are amazing now. Instantly improved. So perhaps that is why my frames were so bad at the beginning of this video. It's possibly something to do with all the assets around, possibly volumetric clouds, who knows. Everything seems to be okay now. So the mission I have at the moment is to head back to where we arrived on the Sanctuary Moon, which is where a market is, so if I look at my inventory here, we can see that I've picked up a bunch of quartz and bauxite, limestone, chromite, and so on and so forth. I've still got lots of stuff in my inventory, and I'm not really sure what to do with it or why I even have. I think I have the atmospheric brakes, the hover engines. I've still got the blueprint for the racer and so on and so forth. I'm not really sure why blueprints are in your inventory and not kind of separated off somewhere else. But well, okay, well, we'll go with it. And of course, all these different tools, which again, I'm guessing we need to have. I don't even know. I'm just so kind of overwhelmed with everything. Sodium scrap, apparently. Resurrection node. I'm going to probably need that somewhere, I guess. Would be good to have a little base here at some point. Build a little hut around my little territory claim device. If I can figure out how to do that. I have no idea. I think in order to go into build mode, we need some voxel material. So we've got some white pattern carbon fiber, galvanized light gray aluminium. So I think if I double click that, I can switch to my build tool. So to enter build mode, you need to have a sort of construct nearby, something to sort of build from. And then while you're pointing at it, just press B and you enter sort of build mode, and then you can fly around it. You're sort of like weird flight mode, infinite jetpack kind of thing. This grid, I think, is going to be quite helpful. And there are other tools like smooth voxel. We can see all of our tools down there, a line voxel tool. So, and it gives you nice little tips and stuff when you do that. For area smooth voxel link elements, we can see some linking going on between the cockpit there and the core unit, I think that is. Yep. So I guess that links that cockpit. I suppose that would indicate that you can have a cockpit unlinked. I don't know. Weird. If we didn't have a construct here, for example, we would need a core unit. So if you hit K, you open your crafting menu. So, and then parts, I guess somewhere in here is going to be a core unit. So if I search core unit, core units, dynamic core units. And so you can see space core, static core. I assume dynamic is a core unit building block most elements. So dynamic core is what we need to build a hover vessel, spaceships, or hover vessels. But obviously we need basic components, basic power, basic core systems, and a basic standard frame in order to build one of them. We of course don't have any of that. So how do we build that stuff? Well, no, that's asking the question, isn't it? Let's have a look at basic components. So basic component requires aluminium iron alloy. Okay. Aluminium alloy requires pure aluminium and pure iron. So in order to make pure anything, we need the bauxite, which we have, and the iron, which we have. So actually, in fairness, I could queue up a bunch of aluminium. Oh, apparently we don't have that much. Okay, so you can see on the left here, the amount of liters that you have and the amount of liters that you need. So I can make one bauxite. Great. 45 liters of aluminium. And then the other one we need is iron. So I can make one of those as well, I think. Yes. So there we go. So we can make some pure aluminium, pure iron. So once this is done, then I can create the aluminium. So yeah, now we can make the alloy. We could just make the one alloy. And that's going to take 2 minutes. Oh, my lord. Right, let's get some nano crafter efficiency in here. See if we could speed up our little nano crafter. I think that's what our little crafty thing is called. Anyway, I've got a few other skills that are kind of lined up. And these look like they might take 11 hours. 11 hours. 11. Okay. Maybe not. We might not have this stuff done. I think this continues even while you're logged off, though. So it's good to just queue up a bunch of stuff and just let that go. And also you accumulate more when you're learning. So you get 6 points a minute when you're not learning anything, and you get 90 a minute when you are learning something. And then, yeah, if you need something real quick, actually, I think, can we just instant get that one instantly? I think because I've queued it now. I just need nanocrafter efficiency. If I can kill that off. And then nano pack, nanocrafter efficiency, and then just train the talent. Boom, confirm, and it takes 3,000 points off your talent points available, but you get it instantly instead of having to queue for it. So there we go. There's those options as well. Our alloy is done, so we can now create a basic component, which takes 1 minute 35. Well, that's the basic component. Now we need a basic power. Do you know what? Okay, well, there you go. That's how the sort of crafting works. It's, again, like the rest of the game, it's very in-depth. Now then, this thing is telling us to go over there. So we're going to have to get back into our little hover vessel and go for another drive, I think. I'm hoping that we've got the fuel for it. But yeah. The driving at the moment, everything seems to be... you get insert to cycle different camera modes. Oh, look at that. We got we look around by default. So the craft isn't fixed to the mouse. You have to use A and D or Q and E in order to turn left or right. But here we go. We've got 35 kilometers to go. And let me pull this thing up to maximum speed, and you can see how far that actually is. There we go. We're about max speed now. Yep, 33 kilometers. You get the idea. Okay, we've made it back to the base. This does not look right. Oh dear, the game is really struggling now. Okay, maybe because I'm looking up its skirt. I don't know. It doesn't like it. It doesn't like it. Right. It would appear that our frames have gone back down to what they were before. Never mind. Okay, we're looking for a market as per the sort of instructions we got here. Oh, hello, sir. The you can instant sell the item just by right-clicking instant sell, and that will sell it for the best available sort of price that it can find at the moment. So that would be 3,900 H's, whatever the H's are. So confirm that. There you go. We're going to build our home, ladies and gents. That's awesome. Right, so we've got a bunch of limestone we can sell as well. I'm just going to sell everything that I've got. I don't think it's worth very much at all, like 287. So yeah, the quartz was worth the most, I think. Got 220 litres of coal. Let's get rid of that. Okay, once you've finished with all the marketplace and trying to get everything into your inventory, it's absolutely crammed already. So I got the matte grey concrete you need for building the base and so on and so forth. Well, our next objective is to head back to our little slice of home, a little green tile out in the middle of the desert, and back to hopefully some smoother frames, because we'll be leaving all this chaos behind. The only drama I do have is where the hell did I park my hover vessel? How do I get out of here as well? Is this just down? Oh, there we go. The elevators are weird. They're very weird. Alright, we're back. Okay, so we're actually going to start building something now. So I've got my static core unit. I'm just going to go ahead and double click on that. That's going to do no equipped tool can use this item. Well, that's interesting. There we go. Right, okay. So you need to deploy ground element tool, and then you double click on the static core unit. Fine. Okay. So we can now, can I put it there? Okay, I can. Let's see. Can I call it nice and boring outpost 1? Boom. Well, I can say for absolute certainty, this is going to take some getting used to, and I haven't quite figured out if I can do larger areas than that. I mean, I seem to be getting some different sort of information because the windowed codex here. Step 1, point in the surface, hold the left mouse button to define the voxel shape along the surface. Release left mouse to define how far you extrude the shape, and then press again to deploy the shape. But if I try and do that, so let's see, let's press and hold, release. Oh yeah, here we go. Right, I'm underground now. This is the problem. Can I dig this up later? If I place it there, that's all underground. So now if I stop editing the construct, I can come back to it later. But of course, I need the mining tool to get rid of the surface here. There we go. It's fairly straightforward to do that. And then I can go back into build mode here. Now then, if I got scroll up to increase, control and scroll to increase the size of the voxel, and scroll down to decrease the size of the voxel. So if I wanted like say to make this kind of like a little garagey area for my hover vessel to park, I could say it's not a very big hover vessel, so let's only make half of it. Let's make a little mini wall here and then take that up. Kind of need to measure by how tall I am, I guess, but yeah, about that tall. There we go. Hover vessel also hovers a bit, so to make sure it's there. Anyway, yeah, this is going to take some getting used to. I am not used to this at all, but like most things, practice, and you will get better. Is it enjoyable at least? It's too early to tell. Well, it certainly isn't much, but it might do for now. I've been messing around with this sort of build for a while. I think I might go and do the proper build tutorial. I figured a lot of it out on my own. It is reasonably intuitive, kind of. It takes some getting used to, and I'm still not sure how to do some of the shapes and stuff that I want to do. But I think a lot of the voxels, they will clip into each other. So around here, I've got sort of, you can see kind of where multiple lines of voxels have sort of collided with one another and sort of formed a bit of a mess over here as I was messing around with some of the line tools and stuff. But anyway, I have a respawn point activated resurrection pad. I have a container so I can put some of the stuff that's weighing me down in here. That's some of the stuff that I'm not going to need. Sodium scrap. Oh, how do I make that just go over there? Do I have to drag and drop? Is there not a quick click option? Double left mouse key or drag and drop the scrap directly into the... Well, that's what I did. I double clicked in it and it went... Ugh. Oh, yes. Of course. I nearly forgot. Potted plants. Obviously. We definitely need somewhere for these to go. And I think they're quite big, aren't they? I reckon one will go there. Lovely. And I should put one on my little terrace roof up here. I haven't finished this little roof yet, but I'm going to do a little kind of balcony deal. But yeah. Green fingers achievement. Look at that. So there we go. I've got a little ramp that goes up here, and that takes me on top of the roof. I put the little windows in there. I was just messing around with the sides of them, really. And yeah, I just need to finish that roof off there. But I think our little hovercraft will now... why I've got the repair tool selected, I don't know, but whatever. Activate the old pilot seat. It is quite a bit bigger than I thought it was. Oh, it just sort of bounces off the ground as well. That's not helpful. Okay, this is going to be really difficult then in that case. I'm not sure if I want to put it in there actually. Thinking about it, maybe better just going on the roof. There we go. Wow. This thing is a bit crazy, but there we go. It's on the roof. It's on the roof. That'll do. Okay, I built a little garage for it, but never mind. This will be my little entrance way instead. Then a little slidey door, and my container and my respawn point. I have a little home, and the sun's gone down, so all the rocks are now glowing and stuff. It's quite nice. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what to tell you. After all this time, I'm still... I have no idea. I have no idea. I have a lot of objectives still. The tutorial is still ongoing, as it would seem, even after building my little outpost here. I still don't know where to go from here. I think we'll have to go back to Aphalia, the main planet. That seems to have disappeared off here. And go back to these academies, or whatever they're called. Institutes, to learn a bit more about building, crafting and all that stuff. But hopefully I've given you a little flavor of what Dual Universe has to offer. It is crazy in depth, and I suspect it's going to be one of those games that you're going to have to dedicate pretty much most of your gaming time to in order to get the most out of it. But that's just my opinion. It is a subscription model game, and I know that the gaming community doesn't like them very much. So it'll be interesting to see if this is one that survives. But anyway, that is going to be all for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting, informative, useful, and maybe even a little bit entertaining. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.